Alright, we should be live. Quick audio check from Cornet, please.
Blip blop.
Well, I can't see the stream on Coleslaw Cup's page, so I don't know what's happening, but we're going to assume... Oh yeah, here it is. I shall link this to the league. Broadcast stream. Alright, well, good morning, afternoon or evening, regardless of where you are around the world, ladies and gentlemen. We're a bit late this week, approximately 9 minutes late, as we tried to get everyone in the session here, but we're loading into the Jeddah circuit, Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, for round 2 of season 2. Oh, we've had a disconnection. I hope we're not going to have a restart, as this isn't going particularly smoothly this week. I'm just going to have a quick check of what Sharia is sending me. Yes, a reminder to me. Thank you, Sharia. Alright, and we've got Will back, our other commentator. He sometimes takes a while to join the party though, so it may be a while before we hear him. But we have a grid of 19 this week, and it may be 18 because of Dace's disconnection there, but we'll keep an eye on that. I believe we're missing A-Dub. Oh no, A-Dub got in. He was the last one to join, so it must be Knuckles that we're missing. And we've got a couple of reserves in as well. It's kind of difficult to tell at this stage of the season, as we're still getting used to the teams since last season, and also a couple of new drivers. But here we are. It's been 7 days, of course, since the last race, which was won by Lightwork in Bahrain. Pretty exciting one. And we had these same two commentators with us. So what did you think of that race back then, Cornet?
I actually think it was quite exciting. There was a lot going on. I don't remember exactly what was happening, but I remember that there was some action, some nice overtaking in the middle sectors as well, and not only on the main straights, which was nice to see.
Yeah, we wasn't having an easy
nice race overall.
Oh, good. Will's back. How are we, Will?
Where? Not too bad, not too bad.
Very good. Alright, and what did you think of last week's race?
Interesting. Certainly interesting. It was pretty entertaining, honestly. It's about what you expect from Bahrain, though. It's a great track. But yeah, there was some really good driving throughout the field, and then also Tweezer was there too.
Well, we have some intel on why Tweezer was struggling. That is quite the harsh comment. Tweezer, of course, has told us he is new to the wheel. He had been a pad user, now he's on wheel. So that was his first race with that input, and he's obviously getting used to some new assists as well, because he didn't want to, join with full assists. So he's taking a bit of a leap there, and so we expect him to be off what he was last season. Only probably for about a month or so. We might see him get back towards the front. Anyhow, we've got a couple of drivers starting their laps now. It looks like we have Nicky potentially first on. Well, as I turn to him, commentator's curse. He has invalidated his lap at turn 1. Let's go to the Alpine. I think it is behind him. Who would that be? Lanzi maybe?
Spin. He's making progress.
Ah, it's Scavney. Scavney on mediums.
Lanzi's round in the final corner. He's just about to start his flying lap.
Okay, we're going to jump on board with Lanzi then. We know this guy is an absolute talent. Was on the front row, of course, last week, unable to convert that to a podium in quite unfortunate circumstances towards the end of the race. A mistake made by a driver attempting to pass him, scuppering his chances at that P3. Nonetheless, very pacey driver, and he flows it through the first sector here. Very difficult sector, especially for those on pad, but Lanzi got very close to invalidating there. I think he kept within the lines, otherwise we'd see red markings on the track map. Looks like a pretty quick sector. Interesting line through that flowing left there. There are many lines you can take.
And close to the wall.
Absolutely, close to the wall is the key around here. Got to be quite risky to get that lap time. Probably not on the first lap though. Maybe these drivers would want a banker. What would you think about that, guys?
Yeah, I think you usually want to go and get a banker. That's the wise thing to do. Last thing you want to do is crash out at a time. So Dusty's got his banker in now. Scavney will be looking to improve upon a 131. It looks like he's probably backed off. Yeah, so high to mid 128s for the banker laps, it looks like.
Okay, so currently we've got an AlphaTauri front row lockout.
Oh,
Oh, Lanzy's
Lanzy!
lost it at the last turn. That's really unfortunate. Does he pit here? I imagine he would. Yeah, of course, because that lap is completely ruined and the next lap won't have the momentum across the line. Probably damaged too.
Snapped.
That's a
He's got no
Dutch
front
thing.
wing at all.
That is a Dutch thing, you're right. Max
It snaps
Verstappen
on the
obviously
left,
making that
I-
error.
I thought he was going to catch it, and it looked like he caught it, and then it just speared off to the right, so yeah, unfortunate there for Lanzy, but
Yep,
it's gonna
he'll
put
have
him under
another
more
couple of
pressure than he'd
opportunities
like to
though.
for the rest of qualifying.
So it's not the end of the world. Especially, it would have been in the end of the world if he lost his wheel there, which quite possibly could have happened. As he gets
It
back
was
into
close
the
to him
pits.
losing the wheel, I think.
Okay, so Ryan Rod's currently at the top. He is reserving this week in the AlphaTauri. I think it's Slayer is usually the AlphaTauri with Dusty. But looking good for those guys, P1 and P3 currently, although that lap time probably won't stand, is my guess, as Lightwork immediately proves me correct with a 28.0, already 3/10 ahead of last season's pole time, which was actually Ryan Rod's, with a 28.3, yeah. So, wow, okay, Lightwork laying down the gauntlet. Last week, of course, is race winner, championship leader as well. So, keep an eye on that. Scornsy should be approaching that lap time at some point, you would imagine, but currently without a time set. Looks like he's about to start one after he lets some traffic through, as he's on the outlap.
So how does it work with reserve drivers in this league? Do they score points for constructors, personal, or anything?
Okay, you put me on the spot with that one. I'm trying to recall.
If you know.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah, I remember now last season when KB was unavailable as my teammate. I remember it being the only Ferrari scoring points. So, yeah, reserves do not score, you know, but they do score points for themselves in the Drivers' Championship. And they can, of course, get in the way of other rival teams. We'll see if Ryan Rods helps Dusty here or races for himself, as we have a purple sector for Scornsy in the Ferrari. Prematurely, he would be starting last, but of course this is going to be a pretty good lap, you would imagine. Ooh, unless his teammate gets in his way, I doubt it though. Valentine will see him coming. Maybe actually gives him a tow? Yes, he does.
That looks like a really well planned though as well.
Although, not the shortest line through the next couple of sweepers, so may have cancelled out. Looks like a very steady lap so far from Scornsy here. Of course, last week's pole sitter. We'll be hoping to make it 2 from 2. There is a point for that, as we think we mentioned last week. Last turn now. Reasonably nicely apexed. Where's this going to put him? Second is my guess. There we go, second.
And we currently have Nicky
Spot on
and
again.
Lanzy as well, both on hot laps. Comes to the end of, well, the start of sector 2.
Thank you for that.
Nicky
Yes,
managing
I've
to
joined
keep it
Lanzy.
pretty clean so far. Not rapid, but he's been safe and he's kept it clean so far. Through the lap.
Oh, there he goes. Invalid there from
And then
Nicky.
invalidates. Damn. Okay, yeah, that is the commentator's curse for
We joined Lanzy at
Anyway,
the same
that's
point in the track. He does not make the same error, so he'll be setting a lap time here, you would imagine, unless he does exactly the same thing he did on his previous attempt, which I'm sure he'll be careful of this time. Very close to the inside wall. Doesn't make the error, although maybe he might have scraped the wall, but it didn't look like it affected him too much. Crossing the line, P4. Oh, 2,000th in front of Jonathan Dunk in that McLaren.
As KB crashes and
Ooh,
I think
okay.
into the wall of the first hairpin.
We're going to jump on board with Ford to see if he can see the wreckage. Yeah, it's right in the middle of the track, folded up front wheel there. That's unfortunate for KB.
Yeah, and Dusty's approaching at a rate of knots as well on his hot lap. The car just about disappears in time.
Stewards cleaned the car up pretty fast there.
Yeah, it's fortunate though for Dusty. You don't want to have a car in your way on the hot lap. I'm not sure if anyone was actually affected by that or if they were on out laps. Ford certainly was. So Dusty has the DRS wide open, approaching the... oh, actually that's a purple second sector. Does he drift wide? Oh, that was very close to invalid.
Right on the line.
Inch perfect.
Yes,
over
fantastic
chicane.
line there. And he's got one more corner to negotiate. Well, one more braking zone at least. I guess you could call this curve a corner. Here it is. Reasonably well apexed. Gets the power down nicely.
Still left a little bit on the table there on the exit, but...
Does he go fourth with this lap? Yep. Okay. Wow. I got it right again. What's going on? Okay, let's go on board with Dace. Actually, I think he might not be in a flyer.
Shelley is starting his flying lap now.
Okay, the other
Oh,
Williams.
he's
Let's
gonna
go.
pit. Nope, he's in
No,
a
he's-
pit. He's right on the line.
Yep, we're staying on board with Shelley for a lap, I think, here. Don't want to jump around too much. Negotiates turn 1 and 2. I think he went a bit wide at 2, but otherwise it was fine. Certainly better than the invalidation we saw at the start of the session from Nicky. Got some yellow flags. Looks like it's for slow traffic rather than a crash. Oh, that's a bit wide there from Shelley the turtle, but it's not
Got away
invalid.
with it?
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised by that.
Okay. Hacks.
Maybe he knows something we don't. Either way, continues the lap. Is he going to get close to the wall? Very much so there.
Oh, beautiful.
Nice line. Continues it through the next few corners as well. Oh, it's invalid.
Yeah,
that must have been
well
millimeters
over.
in that. Oh, really? Okay. I didn't see that it was that far. Fair enough.
From the head-on camera angle, you could see it.
Fair enough. Alright, I've jumped on board with Scavney now. Approaching the exact same part of the track. Goes well wide. Doesn't invalidate though, but I don't think that was the quickest way through the corner. Hopefully he can improve from 14th. We're very used to seeing Scavney higher than such a position as 14th. Possibly looking for somewhere between 8th to 10th with this lap, if that doesn't happen. But somehow stays valid.
Okay, there's some hacks going on.
Okay, we've got some yellow
That
flags.
is-
Yeah,
it
he
is a
backs
slower
off.
line, though.
He could have been down on his time, or he just didn't want to improve on a lap that looked like that, which is fair enough. We've got an Aston Martin taking an
Valentine.
extremely wide line at the last turn. It was light work. But he's
Valentine
entering.
approaching the final corner to finish off his flying lap as well. We'll be looking to put that Ferrari somewhere other than 17th, I'd imagine.
Yeah, we missed Dace jumping up to the front row as well, going, yeah, P2 there behind
Flying
light
fish
work.
has leapt out of the water.
We didn't miss him, we just didn't see it happen.
We just ignored it, I guess. Valentine did not improve that time, unfortunately. So we've got one Ferrari 3 from the top, 1 3 from the bottom currently. Alright, let's have a look at Scornsey. Obviously Valentine's teammate. A driver we expect to be in the fight for victory here. Can he muster up a front row start, or indeed a pole position? Needs over 5/10 currently. It's not quite purple in the second sector. Can't tell how far up he is at the moment. DRS wide open. Didn't quite apex the last turn and gets the rear loose on the exit. Possibly going to pit, yes. Okay, he must have been down his previous time. Or not enough up to be bothered finishing the lap, and he wants to get in to make one final run. Top 5 are all in the
So,
pits, but
Nicky-
A-Dub here is starting his lap. Nicky?
And Nicky's just completed the first sector a good 3 or 4 tenths faster than the first sector he managed on that last attempt where he invalidated. So he could be on for a good lap here. If he
Oh,
can,
don't say that. I'm not going to jump on board with him just in case we curse him for the 3rd time this session. A-Dub looks to be Slightly struggling here in the first sector. Looked like the rear
And that's
was
a
not
purple
wanting
middle
to
sector
stay
for
with
Nicky.
him. Yeah, and he gives up on the lap. I'm going to jump on board with Nicky, please. Let's not screw him up. Yeah, purple sector. That's pretty hype, even though it may not be true. I'm remembering what you said last week. Oh, that's wall.
Oh, that's a wall.
Does he complete the lap though?
He's
He
just-
may as well, I guess.
He's got a lap. That's all he needs. That's all he needs. Just put a lap in, for God's sake.
Yeah,
just
12th
one
is
lap.
not that bad for smacking a wall. Everyone now with a lap time. Shelley now starting his lap. Brakes for the first turn. Spot on. Let's have a look. Turn 2. Reasonable
Yeah, some traffic
acceleration
soon as
zone.
well.
Very tough. Almost blind corner here. Makes it quite nicely. Stays within track limits, unlike last lap. And actually that looked really nice through the first sector from Shelley. Onto this straight, which had been a DRS zone last game. I think falsely, according to real life.
Yeah, they based it off the original plans for the circuit. Those plans then changed after Codemasters had finalised the circuit design. But Shelley well up in Sector 1 on his previous best time. He gets nice and close to the wall there as well on the exit. DRS will be open shortly.
Absolutely, looks like a great lap so far from the turtle. Tricky chicane coming up though, and it's purple.
And he's 6/10 up.
Wow, 6/10 could find him moving well up into the top 10. Somewhere around, or maybe even just 10th actually. Yellow flags
Maybe
at the
a
right.
mid to high 28, I think.
Yeah, this should pop into the top 10 if that last turn was reasonable, which I think it was. Yep, 10th.
Okay.
Smith
Ooh,
Pell as
Nicky's
well
done.
as Nicky retires.
In the pit lane, I
into the
believe.
pit. Smith Pell about to cross the line to complete his flying lap as well. Let's see if he can improve from P12.
I don't think
Perhaps
his-
he's going for another one though
Oh.
because he drifted a little bit wide on the straight, so I think he's set himself up to go for a second push lap.
Yeah, currently
Which,
P12
yeah,
Smith
that's
is a bit lower than I think I would expect him. But yeah, such a quality field, it's easy to find yourself in that sort of region if you haven't set, your PB.
Scavy on a hot lap 2 as well. As he enters Sector 2, he'll be wanting to improve on that P15 as well because he's definitely got more pace than that.
Dace looks to be up on his time. Currently P2, but that was a purple first sector. Nicely through there, and it looks like his teammate might give him a tow, which will be an improvement for the second sector as well. Big tow, in fact, from Shelley. Does he pull off?
And,
Ooh, they almost miscommunicated there. But it's another
Scavney's
purple
on
sector.
side,
That's off as well. Scavney massively up on his time. He's getting a tow from the car ahead as well. Not a great tow, but there'll be a slight
Coleslaw is
influence there.
done. Could this be a 27 for Dace? The first driver into the 27s would be something interesting. A bit wide at the last turn though. Hopefully that doesn't ruin his chances. Oh, it has.
Sorry.
No, Dace.
Smith Pell has messed his lap up as well. He ended up off track at the chicane. Easy Rider Yowie coming through the chicane as well on his push lap. Will it be easy riding for Yowie this race? It wasn't in Bahrain, but he'll be looking to make an improvement on that one and remedy that situation. Into the final corner. Easy Rider opening the DRS really late. He crosses the line. Can he improve? No, he can't. That's going to be the end of his qualifying.
Yeah, I'm on board with Scornsy now. He's got the DRS open currently, about to cross the second sector split, and it's purple. The first sector did look pretty tidy as well, and he's only got
Ryan
a couple of sweepers to go.
about to cross the line here as well to finish his
Lanty
line lap.
spun on his final flying lap in the first sector.
Ryan
Ryan
Rod's
improve? He goes
very
to
close to Lightworks time.
Very close to light work.
Here comes Scornsy. Does he improve to the front row? Really difficult to tell.
2 tenths up. It's gonna be close with Days.
It's P3 only for Scornsy. Dusty, is he on a
And we have
lap?
Jonathan Dunk next across the line. DRS open for the McLaren. Can he improve on his time and shoot his way up the order?
Wow.
He goes to P3 with a 28.2.
Nice lap.
Fantastic there. Then here comes Scavney, he's going to box. Which means
Light work might be still on a
light
lap
work now.
here. Tiny little lock up there, puff of smoke from the fronts. But it might still be an improvement.
gonna-
No, I
yeah,
think he's
I think
pitting. He's pitting.
Yeah.
You have a little bit of damage.
Saving the
Yeah,
tyres.
he has damage. He has damage on the left-hand side of his wing. I thought I'd noticed that in sector 3.
I think we're...
that
Oh wait,
confirms
is
it.
Galloway still on one? No, he's invalid. I think that's it then. Right, so 4 drivers have beaten last season's pole position time, which was a 28.322 from Ryan Rods. He is P2 this time. Lightwork securing the point for fastest lap, which increases his championship lead. Scornsey, a lowly P4 for Scornsey, but you know, that can turn around quite quickly. We got Dace
I'm
there in
very
the top
excited for this
5.
one.
Yeah, this is
I think
incredible.
we could even beat the Bahrain race here for entertainment because we're going to have the top 5, well, top 6 guys most likely that are going to be fighting for this win. Sharia's going to be up there as well. Maybe he can do something on strategy, as will A-Dub. You know, A-Dub always has pace. Lanzi in P9, he's always quick. Realistically, anyone in the top 9 could finish on the podium here. Well, I mean, anyone in the field could, but they seem likely.
Absolutely.
Even Sharia?
Alright, let's run down the field. We've got Lightwork and Ryan Rods, an incredible front row to watch off the line. Then it's Jonathan Dunk and Scornsey on the second row. Dace, Dusty, Sharia, A-Dub, Lanzi, P9, kind of low for what I expected from him. Shelley rounding out the top 10. Then it's forward, Scavney, Smith, Pell. All 3 of them I expect to move up in the race. Then it's Nicky, KB, Galloway, Yowie, who of course was in the top 10 by the end of Bahrain. Probably looking at maybe a hard charger in this one as well. Valentine 18th and Tweezer at the back of the field, still trying to get used to his new input. So, as we load into the race session, we've got a couple of minutes to discuss what we think is going to happen. Maybe look at last season as well, because it was one of the most entertaining races last season. Season 1, of course, it was round 4 back then, and the gap between first and second was just 0.1. So if we can have something similar here, that would be quite entertaining. An omen, of course, for the championship as a whole. The winner of round 2, which was not Saudi Arabia, and the winner of Saudi Arabia was the same driver last season, went on to win the championship. So maybe we keep an eye on that for today, see if that's the same thing happening again. Do we have any predictions for this week, guys?
I'm going to go with a Ryan Rods win.
A Ryan Rods win. Yep, I mean, that seems quite reasonable. What about you,
I'm
Corne?
going to go with
I think Shelley is going to find his way on the podium. I don't know how.
It.
But
Wow.
I've got
Bold.
I'm going to make a bold prediction that Lightwork won't finish on the podium. We'll see.
Ooh, that is tough. I'm going to suggest Scornsey will win the race, but I think we're going to see Ryan and Lightwork also on the podium. I know that's a cop-out of a guess, but if you're a betting man, you're a betting man. Now, I can't change it right now, but I've realised that I've made an error, and it should say Season 2 on this live stream. Apologies for that. It says Season 3, so I've repeated my mistake from last week. It is, of course, Season 2.
Let's just pretend it's Season 3. Let's just roll with it.
No, I've been instructed to make sure that's not the case, so it isn't. The server had been Team B7's, but such a big change to the landscape has happened that it got renamed, and it's basically a new league. So, last season was Season 1, this is Season 2, the stream is incorrectly named, for anyone wondering. Alright, we've got the countdown started here. Hopefully no one started that without the permission of the host, because that would be a hefty penalty. Assuming it was the host that started it though, we're looking on track for a formation lap to start very soon. No, I'm setting this up first.
Traditions.
I'm happy for you to say triangle every week. Okay, here we go. We've got 6 drivers at the top, all on medium tyres. Then we've got the next 3 on hards. A couple more mediums and hards. 1 soft in the entire field. That's Scavney, starting from P12. So the majority are on mediums. Makes sense. You're probably going to end up using medium hard. But if safety cars permit, it might be medium hard medium if the drivers have made a selection that allows that. Last season that wasn't the case, of course. We only had 1 set of mediums each, and the winning strategy was actually to start on the hards. There was a safety car around halfway, and the medium tyre was the best to go to the end. So we'll keep an eye out for that. The highest hard is currently P7. So
Light work driving pretty fast on this outlap.
you're right. Only Ryan staying with him. Jonathan Dunk a few corners back. So shouldn't influence the race too much because we know that the tyre heat stays in the tyres, of course, when you line up. But you know, might give them a few more extra butterflies before the lights go out. You sit there on the grid for half a minute.
Do we want the telemetry up on the stream, or do we want to keep the picture a bit clearer?
Well, maybe that's a good question for our viewers. Even if they tell us for next week, I think having that up there would be interesting to see speeds people reach, like how much ERS they have. I can comment on it that way. But if people would prefer to have more of the screen available, then let us know. Oh, that's a spin. Is that Lanzi? Yeah. With the Montoya version.
That's a way to warm your tires.
Exactly, exactly what I was thinking. Right, well hopefully we get a better camera angle than we did last week. It was absolutely abysmal into turn 1. We actually missed a bit of a collision that affected about 3 drivers. Hopefully this time though...
Yeah, there was McLaren involved with that one, I believe.
Absolutely, I do remember that.
As we go to 3, 4, 5 red lights, and it's lights out, and away we go.
Still a terrible angle, so I'm going to go on board with
Good start from Ryan
Dunk, who gets an awful start in the McLaren.
Rod's already down the inside of Lightwork and already ahead coming out of turn 1. Lightwork could use some ERS here, maybe try and come back at him, but he's not going to be able to.
The Red Bull Fury are going really wide into turn 1. Maybe a little bit of collision or didn't have room.
Quite possibly Dace trying to put some pressure on Scornsey, and Galloway and Tweezer swapping positions as Nicky spins.
Oh, Nicky,
and
Tweezer's out.
Tweezer is out.
Oh no.
They've come together there, Nicky and Tweezer. Perhaps
Safety
Nicky
car
smiling
on
collected Tweezer.
track.
Not too sure, but that is a full course safety car on the track.
Well, it didn't take long to bring out the first safety car. Of course, it's known as kind of a dangerous track. We'll bring up the positions gained if we can. Where is that?
Maybe Tweezer was tweezing a little bit with his steering wheel.
Square then detail.
There it is. Okay, so far, up 5 positions is the most. We got KB in 10th. We've got one up 4 as well, that's Valentine. Moving from 18th to 14th, yes. And then we've got -4 for Smith, Pell and Nicky. So maybe Smith was involved too? Hard to tell though. Can't make that
Sharia
assumption.
as well, and I think I saw
Sharia.
him go really wide in turn 1. Like I said before, missing 4 positions.
Yeah, he was caught slipping. Maybe those hard tyres just didn't have the temperature in them as well. That's something to consider. That's something we haven't even looked at yet. So many different layers to the race, of course.
So ADub now
Need
the
to
leading
look at the
hard
tyres.
driver. P7, a couple of dummies for the pit lane. That would be far too early though. I mean, you might be able to make it to the end on hards, but I don't think that would be beneficial to give up the track position.
And one person comes in, it's Smith Powell.
Could have sustained damage. Let's have a look at the Mercedes pit stop. Taking mediums off. Looks like he's putting mediums on, and yes, it is a front wing change.
Wing damage.
Damage on the left of his front wing.
Do you think it would have been possible if he'd gone into the hards to maybe try and nurse them very slowly to the end? Or
I think it would have been possible, but yeah, it's hard to
Not
tell
ideal.
whether it's exactly not ideal is probably the way to put it. So it's Ryan Rod's in the lead, no stranger to leading Grand Prix. Not a winner in Coleslaw Cup yet though, so hoping to get that monkey off his back, I guess, in the reserve position at AlphaTauri. Light work, the championship leader. Lost the position off the start, but you know, not that bad, being behind only a reserve. And Scorns the upper position already on his rival in the championship standings. Dace was pretty quiet last week, but this week he might be able to fight for a podium. Could be kind of interesting.
If only Dace was ever quiet.
Smith-Pel's not too far behind the train of cars here, so we might see the safety car potentially come in this lap. But again, it might go around one more as well.
Yeah, I think that's unlikely. I think we'll do one more lap under this safety car.
We've got Gabri in the chat supporting forward. Always nice to see support for some drivers. Forward is doing...
Maybe that's just the direction in which he wants to travel.
Forward's a good direction to travel. It's up there. Currently 13th. Forward will be looking to move in that direction.
It's up there. It's one of the better ones, you know.
Forward is a good direction. It can't be argued. So we will have another lap under safety car.
A lot of weaving, especially from the hard compound. Using drivers, I think. Going to be a struggle to keep them warmed up under the reduced speed of the safety car.
Absolutely, they do fall out of the window quite easily, and on restarts they can be just as awful as coming out of the pits, if not worse at times. So you got to make sure you have that temperature, as Will suggested. Softs should be fine without doing any weaving whatsoever, and mediums just a little bit of weaving, and you should be alright. Don't have any statements from the drivers who are out. Well, actually, there's only one driver out, Tweezer. So we'll see if he has anything to say.
See some great insight there from Gabri.
Would you like to share that with the audience?
Are you going to share it?
Yeah.
Well, Forward has lost some of his speed after he removed his mustache, apparently. But we all know facial hair is worth at least 3/10.
This is true. Consulting our aerodynamicists, 3/10 is the same about right.
P11.
That's exactly it. That's why Shelley has a lot of potential in a few years' time, I think, to really improve.
Very true. Hopefully we're going to get the safety car in this lap. I imagine that's the case. Everyone's been caught up for over a lap. There it is. Race control confirms it.
So Ryan Rodds will be pacing the field now. He takes over as the de facto safety car. Has to back the pack up and let the safety car get away before he restarts. Of course, no overtaking until the first safety car line, which is the finish line, I believe.
Yeah, so who's going to time this well? It's very difficult for P2 to get this right, but P3 can watch P1 and might be able to get a jump.
And
Let's see what happens.
He's gone early. Ryan Rodds has gone early. He's got a massive jump on Lightwork. Lightwork did not expect it.
Dace, though,
from Scornsey into turn 1.
Very close to the Ferrari. He's going to box Scornsey in. Really nicely executed there. Can he keep it? Yeah, leaves a bit of space.
He's got to come back at him. Dace
gets the traction.
The traction compared to Scornsey, maybe, but he manages to get it.
Well executed move there from the Flying Fish up into the podium positions.
That was a great restart there by Ryan Rodds. That was restart 101 there. You need to put it in the textbook, I think. Absolutely fantastic.
Slight wobble from A-Dub there in the midfield, and oh, what a catch from Sharia. He's overtaken by Scavney, but that could have been well worse. And he just caught that in the rear view of a car in front. Shelley goes a bit wide. Galloway and Easy Rider, I think, were swapping positions there, but it's hard to tell from not exactly looking at that part of the conga line.
Already a
Yeah,
pretty
Dace
big gap
is
between
gonna be
P6 and
under a
7.
lot
Is
of
that the
pressure
tip?
now.
Oh, Ferrari around Valentine. He's in the wall. Recovers it though. I can't tell if he's got a front wing or not. Either way, he's at the back of the field. And it's
And that's a full
another
course
safety
safety car,
car.
full course.
Damn, we're not getting
Are
much
we
luck
gonna
with
see
green
some pit stops
flags.
here?
That seems like a slight overreaction there from race control. I'm not sure if that's entirely necessary, but Valentine won't be complaining.
Great,
Obviously, the chance
great
to-
question there from Cornet though. Are we going to see pit stops? I think Scavney may as well go for it. He's on the soft. They won't be dead by any means, but going to the end seems like a great
Ryan Rod's in.
shout.
Ryan Rod's in.
No, that's a dummy. Scornsy though. Wait, sorry. Yeah, you're
No,
right.
Ryan Rod's is in. Ryan
Yeah,
Rod's is in.
Dace and Lightwork were the ones. Oh, we're getting some penalties
As
here.
Dusty Lusky picks up the 5 seconds, so did Jonathan Dung. Onto the hard tyres goes Ryan Rods.
Yeah, same for Scornsy. That's really unfortunate for Dunk and Dusty. Those penalties are going to absolutely scupper their chances here. Hards for everyone in the pits, I think. Although, is that
Apart
Nicky
from
going to
Nicky,
mediums?
I think he went to the mediums.
Yeah, I mean, mediums could make the end if there's further safety cars. I mean, judging by what we've seen so far, there's going to be a few more.
This is going to be really interesting now. Lightwork's going to have to really get a move on the safety car restart. He does not want to come back out behind Ryan Rods, but also when he does pit, he will have that tyre advantage as well.
Yeah, so the first
Gonna be
car
interesting.
on track to have made a pit stop is actually Smith Pell now in 9th, although those tyres are unlikely to get to the end unless we have a lot of yellow. So Ryan Rod's the leader of the hard shod cars that don't need to make another pit stop by the letter of the law. Plenty of hards still in front that are yet to pit, and of course Scavney's still out there on softs.
If you were light work, would you stretch the mediums to try and overcut Ryan Rods?
I mean, you've got to go as far as you can at this point, because Ryan's going to be losing time in traffic trying to make his way through the cars who are yet to pit. So I'd say stretch the stint. Absolutely makes sense. Maybe go to softs at the end, although they are liable to overheating at this track. Depends what
Even with
each driver
low fuel?
prefers. Yeah, they'll be better under low fuel. Yeah, it really depends on if there's another safety car. At that point, the gap's going to come down so much that he's probably going to have to pit if there is one more. As is Dace, Lanzi, etc, etc. Definitely Scavney on the next one. But having a split in the field is going to make this, in hindsight, possibly a race winning or losing decision. Well, we'll see how it pans out. Did Dusty change a wing though? Because I could have sworn he was ahead of Shelley and KB. Was it a slow pit or did he stack behind Ryan?
We can check that one. Dusty Lusky, no front wing change. There was a front wing change for Smith Powell on that one. Jonathan Dunk and Valentine both getting new front wings on lap 4.
Okay, so we've missed something because Dusty was not behind Shelley and KB the entire race. So something has occurred to Dusty. TBA what it was. But yeah, he's also got that penalty as well. So last few laps has not gone well for that particular AlphaTauri.
Lightwork nearly hitting the back of the safety car there as well. Got a little bit caught out, I think, through the chicane.
Yeah. Alright, so I imagine the safety car comes in at the end of this lap. Everyone is in the train once again. Hopefully we get at least one full lap of green flag action here. It's about time we had
Who
some...
would you rather be in this situation, Jacko? Do you think Lightwork or Ryan Rods?
Gee, it's hard to pick that. You're at more risk as Ryan Rods, but you also have, you know, a lot of time to play with as a safety car is going to be coming in. I think I would choose to be in Ryan Rods' position. What about you?
It's difficult to say. I'd probably go with light work, honestly. Because there's a lot of risk involved for Ryan Rods. He has to make his way through the field. He has just one incident, trips up on one car on his way to the front, and it's game over.
Oh, split decision again from us there, but it looks like we're about to go green. Oh, it's indecision ahead. And Landsy doesn't get the best timing there. Does Dace? Yeah. Not really.
Not really, about equal, but he had too much of a gap to light work there coming out of the last corner, and light work's going to retain that.
Scavney's having a look around the outside of A-Dub. He's going to have more traction because we know the assists are different. Oh, yeah, there's contact behind as well. Sharia and Forward behind them, side by side. Very close to contact. We've got some yellow flags.
That's for Smith Powell. There's wing damage, and that's a big crash, massive crash, massive crash. Six or seven cars look like involved there.
Good
huge
grief.
Crash, debris flying everywhere. Easy Rider Yowie is going to have an easy ride on a scooter back to the pits. And that's
is
somehow not going to be a
this game?
Well, yep, Easy Rider and KB are out, and that, of all the collisions, is not a safety car. There's no way this is not a drunk race director.
Unbelievable, Jeff.
Well, apologies for not catching that on the stream, but we saw the aftermath, complete chaos there in the back of the field. Meanwhile, Scornsy and Ryan Rods trying to... Oh, there's contact between the two of them there, as a bit of a checkup happened in front. They're currently 8th and 9th, looking to negotiate Sharia, it looks like, currently. Sparks emanating from the rear of the AlphaTauri. Very close proximity here with Scornsy. Lightwork sets the fastest lap. I think that's the first lap we've completed under complete green conditions. Definitely should have remained green though, after that huge pile up in the first sector. Side by side ahead of Scornsy here. Should be great traction there for Ryan Rods. Scornsy tried it. Couldn't quite muster the move there.
Scornsy has to get past soon though, because he can't risk Ryan Rods getting away. He has to try and negotiate Sharia, who ran a little bit wide. Dace still keeping Lightwork honest though. Lightwork has really put his foot down this lap, just trying to pull out the DRS. It's going to be pretty close, I think. Dace needs to sort of be setting time trial laps now.
Scornsy potentially shaping for a move here. He used about 10% of his ERS. Couldn't make it work though. The thing that's lucky for him here is though that Ryan Rods can't really escape, as the train in front is going to slow him up until the next passing zone anyway. And they're all sort of slipstreaming each other, not DRSing yet, but Sharia looks like he's slightly slower than the pack, so he might be able to be picked off here by the Ferrari, who's got a second back by... Oh, actually lets off the throttle there.
That's a lift off there, yeah.
Responsible thing to do though, because you don't want to be bump drafting here. That's not quite going to make it.
Out,
Oh! He's going to have to give that position back, I would imagine. Yeah, he does. Yeah. Costing him time though. They're both out of DRS now. Sharia's out of DRS to the pack in front. Won't be activated until next lap though, so there is time.
Scornsy's been looking surprisingly human this season. We'll see if he can
Alright,
do that situation.
makes the move though there. And he's now up to 8th. Ryan Rods has not managed to make any further progress, so he should actually catch up, you would imagine, before the DRS is enabled. Dace, importantly, within that second from Lightwork up at the front. Scavney had the fastest lap, but he's actually outside of DRS. So I think he had to pass Landsy that lap. Didn't catch that.
Getting Ryan Rods all over the back of Forward as well. He's wanting to quite literally make some forward progress through the field. But he doesn't get a great exit there. Forward actually attacking A-Dub a little bit. There's a 3-car battle there as well for P4 with Landsy at the head. Gavney escaping down the road on those soft tyres.
We have to remember, of course, though, that Ryan doesn't need to pass these guys. It would only just be helpful to escape from Scornsy. He still has the net lead when these guys pit. He's not that far off the lead of the race himself currently. But here is the DRS. Maybe some moves will be made. A-Dub looking at Landsy. Doesn't decide to make the move. He's going to have another helping down on this next straight. The Alpine will be a sitting duck either here or on the main straight, you'd imagine. Here comes A-Dub though, down the inside. Don't drift wide. Oh, it could be 3 wide. Don't tell me Ryan Rogers is going to make multiple moves in one. No, he plays it relatively safe. Just
This
goes
is some
for...
spicy coleslaw, baby. A-Dub nearly gets spun around there with a little bit of a tap from Ryan Rods. He's going to put him on the back foot for maybe Sharir to have a look, but he backs out of it. Scornsy slipping past as well. So Scornsy right all over the back of Ryan Rods yet again. Dusty Lusky slipping past Shelly the Turtle as well.
Super unfortunate for A-Dub there, of course. Podium last week, as Ryan goes very wide, has to go off the track completely, and looks like he's going to surrender that position to the Ferrari of Scornsy. So net lead change there, though. Yeah, A-Dub last week on the podium. This week he had been looking at P4 only at half a lap ago. Now he's P8. Really got caught out there, trying to shuffle forward and just got shuffled back instead. As Jonathan Dunk sets the fastest lap, currently last of the drivers still in the race. He's on softs, was involved in that melee on the second restart there.
Forward putting a lot of pressure on Lansley as well. He might be able to get the move done here. He goes to the right hand side and then past he goes with the DRS. Lansley tucking up in the slipstream as well, that he might be able to attack forward again. We know just how powerful the DRS is down this straight.
Wow, forward's gone up the field massively since we last talked about him, even without the mustache.
Yeah, Lansley goes to the inside and just about thinks better of it, but Scornsy might actually look to get Lansley on the exit. Can he beat him for traction? Lansley, Scavney ahead, I think that was pitting as well.
Yeah, pitting off the soft tyre.
Trying to get off those soft tyres.
Does he go to mediums?
Scornsy thinks better of it as Lansley gets cleanly past. Scornsy tucking up behind Lansley, trying to follow him through, but it doesn't quite work out. Lansley might not even get the position himself here though, because forward's going to keep fighting it back, and forward is going to retain that position for the time being. Absolutely fantastic driving by the two of them.
Yep, Scavney chose to go to the medium tyre. He's got to make that work for 15 laps, which I think is reasonable. Emerges in 13th, right behind Nicky. Well, 2 seconds behind Nicky, but he'll be on the back of him very soon as Scornsy
Goes for the move here on Lansley.
Yep.
Lightwork also able to break the DRS to Dace as well, which happened this lap. It's rather significant for the lead of the race as well. Lightwork just needs to try and get away.
We've got yellow flags.
Yellow flags there. That's a
Nicky, I think.
That's a Nicky 64 that's off there. He's going to recover.
Yep, recovered already. No need for a virtual or a full safety car at all. And Lightwork really needs to stay without for at least a few more laps, because his gap is not
move here on Lansley.
Huge to Scornsy.
Ryan Rods was going to go to the right hand side there. Lansley pretty aggressively shut that one off, and he had to back out and think better of it, but he's going to be tucked up right behind Lansley as they approach this straight.
Both of them have DRS, but look at the speed that Ryan Rods is able to carry. He might have less downforce potentially on his setup. Either that or it was all to do with ERS, which is 100% for Lansley. He's been saving.
Yeah, Lansley, I think, picking his battles there, knowing that maybe he shouldn't quite be interested in fighting Ryan Rods and losing a lot of time. Just playing it smart. But yeah, there's really not much of a gap from the leaders to Scornsy and Ryan Rods, only around 8 or 9 seconds, so...
Yeah, the pit transit will be well more than that if we stay green. It's going to depend on maybe a late safety car will work best for Lightwork and Dace. Yeah, they're going to need some tyre offset to overcome this. They're going to be behind no matter what, unless Scornsy and Ryan Rods pit, for example, which I wouldn't recommend.
Maybe they try, and we saw Scavney managed 9 laps on those soft tyres. So if Lightwork can just stretch the mediums a few more laps, perhaps he might even look at going onto the soft tyre to give him that tyre offset.
Shelley picked up the first 3-second penalty of the race. The previous ones had both been 5-second penalties for speeding in the pits. As Scornsy swoops past the Haas. Of course, that was the car he drove last season. Now in the Ferrari. And
Forward
up into
launch an
P3.
attack though into the final corner with DRS if he so chooses, but he's going to be a little bit too far behind, I think. I'm not sure if he's really interested in fighting Scornsy when it's not exactly the right move to do.
We've got yellows, 2 cars around,
Ferrari.
Smith, Pell and Valentine.
I think the Ferrari and the Mercedes collide.
Yeah.
Great fight down the straight as well between M. Galloway, A-Dub and Sharir Coleslaw. Galloway moving to the outside of A-Dub, looking to make that move into turn 1. Sharia trying to follow him through. They're going to go side by side, and A-Dub breaks later.
Yep, Galloway with a quiet race so far. Also yet to pit on the mediums. We'll see how that pans out for him, but 7th place. Reasonable effort so far. Scavney's made a little bit of headway on those fresh mediums. Looking at breaking into the top 10 with the next pass he can make. 2.5 seconds off the back of Dusty, but Dusty of course has 5 seconds of penalty, so you could say he's already in the top 10. Ryan Rod's looking to negotiate past forward soon, so he doesn't let Scornsy escape. I'm fairly sure that's exactly what you were about to say, Will.
Yeah, he needs to close up. If Scornsy can keep pulling the gap, then forward may not even have DRS at some point soon, but it's so powerful around here that it's so difficult to break.
True, and all the more impressive that...
Not quite close enough, but forward doesn't have a great chicane there. He's not going to be close enough, though, I don't think, to launch an attack down the back straight. I think Ryan Rods is definitely running pretty low wings, though. He does seem to be pretty quick in a straight line. Not deploying any ERS at all, but gaining a little bit there on forward.
Yeah, forward does have DRS assistance down its next straight as well, so the move into turn 1, while possible, doesn't look like he's quite close enough.
And A-Dub pulls into the pits on his hard tyres.
Yeah, so following the strategy from last season, mediums can definitely go the rest of the way. We know that Scavney's trying that. Of course, Scavney's very good on tyres as well. A-Dub not so much. But this should still work though for the Mercedes driver as he puts the medium compound on.
Just looks like Ryan Rods just can't quite follow closely enough through the high-speed section of Sector 1, through those high-speed corners. Perhaps that's the price he's paying for slightly lower downforce as well.
That does add up.
He doesn't seem to be quite close enough to forward to really launch any attacks down the straight, despite the straight line speed advantage.
Does also explain the little wiggle he had, which gave up the position to Scornsy a few laps ago, as KB
Crucially,
already out of the race leaves the session.
Lost the DRS now. Uses some ERS to try and get back in it, but he's not going to have it down this straight.
True, but he might have it next straight, because it's... Oh, we've got a McLaren in trouble. It's J Dunk. Full course safety car. Okay, it's time to jump in the pits. Lucky for Lightwork and Dace, they weren't past the pit entry. That has happened to a couple of drivers recently.
To try and figure out whether to pit or not, but he decided not to.
I mean, he absolutely shouldn't have. Oh no, another 5-second penalty. And that's far worse for him than it has been for the drivers who had it already, because they can make another pit stop and serve it. And
that's contact between Ryan Rods and forward.
Really?
I think Ryan Rods might have just gotten away with that.
I don't think it was. It was really close, but I don't think they collided.
Well, hang on a second.
It looked like contact.
Dace and Lightwork are going to maintain track position here because everyone's pitting. Apart from Scavney. Scavney is going to move up into P4 here, and of course Dusty is still out there too. So Lightwork and Dace maintain the top 2 positions because everyone decided another soft compound tyre will help them. Well, sorry, no, they went for the soft compound tyres. We've got mediums as well. Scornsy, Ryan Rods, Forward, Landsy, etc, etc. So, okay, this has worked out kind of differently to what I expected. The top 2, of course, didn't want hards.
Dace is actually a good bet to win the race now, with Lightworks penalty and Dusty behind him on the hards.
So we've seen softs go 9 laps for Scavney, but there were 2 safety car periods during that. So do we think that the soft can stretch for the 11 laps that remain in this race?
I think they can. At the start it's also heavy fuel, and now half of the fuel is gone.
You've got to think we're under safety car conditions now. We will be next lap as well. Maybe even the lap after that, because Smith.
So 8 or 9 laps of green, I think that's pushing it. I think they'll be borderline by the end of the race. The only thing in their favour is that they've got...
be able to do it.
They've got Dusty as a sort of stop break there, and Scavney, you know, he's on mediums, 4 laps older than the chasing pack. Scavney might be looking at a good shout here. Of course, you can't bet against Scornsy and Ryan coming through the field though. Ford on the same strategy though, will be in Ryan's way.
This is what's so wonderful about it. It's all to play for. It has been all race, honestly. And, you can't call it. Dace could win this if those softs hang on. Scavney could win it if the softs fall off. Scornsy forward, Rhinerods, they could all win it if they got past Scavney, as could Landsey, as could Abdov even, so... Or maybe the softs will be stronger. Maybe we'll see M. Galloway charge through the field and finish somewhere better than P10. Who knows? But
And all that without even mentioning the current actual leader who, you know, has had significant pace and could even break away from the field. He now really requires it, so he might be able to push a bit harder.
This is good for the soft runners as well, how long this has taken. We might have another lap after this as well, honestly. Smith Pell's so far behind.
True. So last week we had 20 drivers start and 20 drivers finish. This race, wow, we've already had 4 drivers retire and we've still got 10 laps to go. So a bit of more attrition here. Of course, a street circuit, that makes sense. And Bahrain's got quite a lot of runoff. So yeah, unfortunate for those 4 drivers. And in fact, Jonathan Dunk has made a comment in the chat that he had underbody and rear wing damage. So that might have contributed to his crash in Sector 1 that brought this safety car out.
Yeah, it looked like what most likely happened is just the car just lifted a bit, lost a bit of grip through one of the fast sweeping corners, and the rear end would have just gone like a pendulum, and that's what's taken him into the wall.
Yeah, I hadn't noticed the comment from Gabri, the most recent one, asking if they can finish on the hards. That would have been prior to this current safety car, and I think those who had pitted most recently for hards, yes, they could have finished the race. However, they would have been sitting ducks in this phase of the race, I think, after the safety car. So that's why you saw them pit. I don't know, I think someone staying out could have had a chance. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that.
Track position kind of key. As soon as you get a bit of a break, maybe where Dusty is, and Dusty is the one who stayed out, so we'll see where he can end up, although he is sort of weighed down by that 5-second penalty, so not ideal.
And we will have another lap on the safety car as well, I think. Might see Valentine pitting here as well. I mean, 4 lap old hards, he's in P14, he's not even going to lose a position if he does pit. I see no reason why he wouldn't.
Absolutely.
And, I think he is. He's pulled off to the left hand side already.
Shelley as well.
He stays out. Shelley pits to serve a penalty. I think that's rather foolish there by Valentine.
Shelley's penalty is 3 seconds. It won't be served here. I think he's just going for another fresh set.
Unfortunate.
Gives up 1 position in doing so. Oh, he's going for
actually
mediums.
the mediums are the better shout. That's
yeah,
interesting.
I mean,
All
reasonable
up all
decision.
mediums as well.
If he didn't think he could get the softs to the end, that's obviously a good call. Smith Pell in the background is approaching. He has to get a move on here. Does get out in front of him
I
though.
do not understand Valentine not pitting though. I really don't. I can't comprehend that. It makes literally no sense to not pit there.
The only reason you would not pit off hards is that you've realised you've accidentally left your tyre pressures too high. Because these tyres deal with high tyre pressures the best. That's the only reason I can think of that you would stay out.
I think that's unlikely though. I'm not sure. Perhaps we can get an answer at some point after the race, who knows. But this is going to be an exciting restart.
Yep,
Dace
third
might wanna
restart
just
of the race.
sit behind, and it's interesting. What do we think Dace does here? Do we think he sits behind light work, just tries to manage his tyres and not wear them too much? Or do we think he tries to get ahead and try and pull away from the mediums, use the softs while they've got that grip to build a gap up before the mediums come into their own?
I can't speak for Dace, but I would not risk making an overtake unless Lightwork makes a mistake in front. Just stay with him.
Dace
Use the
is
DRS.
the type of guy to go for the overtake. He likes racing, he likes overtaking, so why not? It's a risk, but it's a risk worth taking.
Question there from Gabri. No, some of these mediums were fresh. There is a new option for about 2 or 3 weeks prior to qualifying. You can decide how many sets of tyres you have. You can ask for multiple hards as well as multiple mediums now. but it does take away some softs. So there can be 2 sets of mediums in race trim.
And we're going to have Lightwork, of course, managing the restart here. Dace needs to not make the same mistake. He needs to be a little bit closer. He is nice and close here, and Lightwork goes. Dace stays sort of with him, but not well.
Side by side action behind. Scavney is under pressure here from Scornsy. Scornsy outbraking him into turn 1. Oh, and Scavney sideways. He's been hit.
3 wide, and that was very foolish by Forward. I think he's going to take a penalty for that one. But we'll have to evaluate that with the angles after the race.
Are you confident that was Forward that made contact with Scavney there?
Yeah, it was definitely It was definitely Forward that made the contact. It looked like they were Scornsy and Scavney were too wide. They were already turning in when Forward then put his wing in down the inside, tapped the rear of Scavney and caused him to spin.
That is somewhat unbelievable because last time those 2 gentlemen raced a safety car restart at this very track, the exact same thing happened. Forward into Scavney, spinning him at turn 1.
Well, he's got a track record of past offences. Scornsy looking to get past Dusty as soon as possible here as well. You can just see how much more grip he has. It's actually incredible.
Yeah, the gap already 1.6 ahead of Dusty.
Here. Dusty's using his ERS, and it might be difficult for Scornsy to manage an overtake without the DRS.
Well, he's got 10 lap pressure tyres on mediums, yeah.
And Dusty doesn't actually end up defending that, so it's rather strange. You'd think if you were going to defend it on the first straight, defend it on the second, but
doesn't really let his teammate by the easiest.
Not really.
Forward's going to take advantage of that massive amount of traction there the Haas is provided with. Fastest lap there for Lightwork. Worth a point. Could be interesting by the end of the race. Soft tyre, the most likely one to record that time, of course.
Shelley getting past Nicky as well in the background. Lightwork really pushing to try and pull that gap. Yellow flag
Shelley,
Shelley the turtle.
Shelley and Nicky.
But they're going to keep it moving and they should be okay. Dusty now under pressure from Landsey. Dusty's going to start falling down the order, I think, on those hard tyres. They are not going to be giving him the same amount of grip as all the drivers around him have, unfortunately.
Yeah, and Dace already a second behind Lightwork there, so Lightwork is trying to push and get 5 seconds in front of at least a few people if he can.
The issue with this big note, you're pushing hard on those softs, and they're already going to start losing some grip at the end if you drive normally. If you're going to be pushing, then that grip is that wear is going to go up dramatically. Dace just needs to manage this now. He just wants to keep a healthy gap to Scornsy, not let Scornsy get within the DRS, and just keep managing it from here. I think is the best for Dace to do. Try not to accumulate too much tyre wear.
Gabri with a complete 180 on his earlier comment. Had been supporting Forward, now he's asking for Forward to be cancelled.
As Lanty gets his way past Dusty. That was a long time coming, I think. Dusty took it up in the slipstream of Lanty there on the run down to turn 1. AW maybe just a little bit too far back to make a move on this occasion, but he will certainly be looking at getting past Dusty as well. Dusty falling like a rock.
Yeah, and the misery's not over for him with 5 seconds yet to be applied to his race time. Might be struggling to stay within the top 10 here.
Yeah, I don't see him staying within the top 10, to be perfectly honest. If the field is so punched up, I mean, especially with the penalty added as well, he's got no chance. But
Scornsy flirting with the DRS, which will be enabled very soon. 1.000 there. Now it's underneath that crucial second barrier, which is interesting because the soft's already losing time, it would appear, to the medium.
Quite possibly. With Scornsy DRS now wide open, Dace is going to find himself under pressure very soon.
Lightwork will be absolutely praying that Dace makes this difficult for Scornsy, otherwise that 5 second lead he needs is not going to happen.
I think the race win has already gone for Lightwork. It's just a matter of will he finish on the podium. Ryan Rods as well, don't forget, is still going to be in this.
Shelley having further issues. He was around as well as getting a penalty there. As Galloway and AW are having an absolute piff-paff.
An absolute piff-paff indeed.
Does it continue into
Coleslaw.
turn 1? A couple of looks there from Ada, but he decides against it in the end. 1/10 only
Just to go
between
a little bit
Dace
wide,
and
find himself under
Scornsy.
more pressure. Yeah, M. Galloway starting to come under pressure from Ada, but the softs do just seem to be a bad race tyre here.
Yeah, they tend to
seem
overheat
lose some performance.
even before the wear becomes an issue. Bit of
Scornsy
question
might get
there
nice here.
from, as we see, Scornsy. Yeah,
Up
that's
to the inside.
the softs must be dead. Scornsy looking like he's going to have a pretty good chance of winning this race. Yeah, we have a question from Gabri again about whether we think that incident between Scavney and Ford was like a racing incident or Ford's fault, for example. I would need to see it again. I don't think I actually caught it on the stream, but Will, you may have had a better view at it. If you can take a guess at that.
Yeah, so I would like to see it again before I made any, concrete judgment. I would say that it most likely leans more towards a penalty to Forward, I think, because it did seem completely on him. He was completely under control of the situation. He could have, he didn't have to lunge down the inside there. I think he could see that it was a bad idea and did it anyway. But with things like this, we might see both POVs, and it might look completely different to the stream, and it might not be Forward's fault at all. So
True.
that's something you just got to wait and see, as Dusty might actually come back at Lanzi here. Lanzi overtook him, but he overtook him before the DRS detection point, and he's going to have to send this one down the inside as well, though he can't let Dusty re-overtake him, and he can't stay behind for another sector. He's going to lose so much time, but he just runs a little bit wide as well from being put on an imperfect line there from Dusty, and he's going to have to sit behind as well for the entirety of sector 1. M. Galloway putting him under some pressure now as well.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate for Lanzi. He made a really nice move around the outside of the last turn, but as you said, the DRS wasn't in his favour, and Dusty placed his car perfectly to maintain that position despite having a traction disadvantage.
Sharia going for the move here on A.
Oh, it's
side by
close.
side. They almost make a little bit of contact, but they don't. They keep it clean. Sharia might look to try and get the slingshot exit coming out of that corner, but A-Dub's just going to be a little bit too far ahead. He's going to have the tow from Galloway as well. He's going to find himself under pressure from A-Dub.
It's a move for the
Because
podium
those soft
here.
tyres
Ryan
are
Rods
falling
has
off.
cleared Dace with relative ease.
Dace.
DRS there.
Dace has fallen off. We can confirm.
And the
Ryan
gap
Rods
even for the
trying to
lead
get
is
DRS
coming
as well
down.
on Swansea.
Softs were absolutely the wrong choice, although Galloway seems to be making it work, for now at least. We'll see if that maintains with 3 laps to go as they cross the line here to N22.
Scornsy low on the ERS as well. Scornsy very low on the ERS. He's
Yeah.
trying to push to get within the DRS window of light work, because he's going to be coming under pressure from Ryan Rods if he's not careful. A move behind there as Forward tries to go around the outside of Dace. Dace makes it difficult. They keep it clean so far though. They're going to be side by side. On the run up to the left-hander, Dace might have to settle in behind here, and yes, he does. It would, he could have kept it in there if he wished, but I think that was the responsible decision there to back out of it. A-Dub and Galloway fighting as well through Sector 1, side by side, through the sweeping corners. Sharia Coleslaw with the best seat in the house, watching on from behind as M. Galloway does get overtaken there, now finds himself under pressure from Sharia Coleslaw. He looks to dive and duck and get underneath. A-Dub getting forced off there as well, it looked like. M. Galloway under pressure still though from Sharia Coleslaw.
Yeah, Sharia took advantage of that contretemps in front of him and
cleanly
around the
around
outside.
the outside. And yeah, Galloway really struggling for grip. A-Dub may follow him through here.
Well executed there from
See.
Sharia.
Galloway can...
Oh, in the
defend
wall
it.
though.
Looks like
Red
A-Dub's
Bull. Clip the wall. Oh, and again. Hopefully not damage there for Sharia.
But here is A-Dub all over the back of Galloway. Sharia low on ERS, doesn't have the DRS. Galloway might come back at him into this chicane. It's not the best place to make a move. He's put himself
A-Dub's having a look
actually
there.
on a bad line there, and A-Dub is going to switch it to the outside and go clean around the outside of the chicane on M. Galloway. Both of them with the DRS, so there's no advantage.
And here comes A-Dub now on Sharia.
A-Dub's going to have the tow, and they might go 3 wide here. Sharia might lose out to both drivers.
Oh.
Almost a pinch there, but Sharia manages to avoid any contact, but he's going to be tucked up right behind M. Galloway, getting the best exit in the house from that the outside line, but
Everyone low on ERS.
ERS there. And A-Dub looks to try and make a move around. M. Galloway might look to switch back it. No, he doesn't.
Oh, not
Tries
much
to keep his
space
nose
there.
in there on the inside.
And there
And we have
goes
a,
Sharia
yellow
back
flag for
first.
spin ahead.
And that will be... Who is
Is
that?
it Lanzi?
I think it's
Is it
Shelley.
lap
It's
car?
Shelley. It's Shelley.
Can't say. It's Shelley. Sheldon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Ian
Dace has
Sheldon
fallen
off the track
3
there.
seconds back from the cars in
And
front.
Reinmont's got Scornsey. When did that happen? When did Reinmont get Scornsey? They're side by side.
Yeah,
Scornsey
they're still
goes back
battling.
around
They're
the
still
outside of
battling.
him.
Wow, it's all happening here. Hard to keep up with all the battles as there's contact with the wall for Ryan Rods.
Yeah,
He's going to lose
touch
out
the wall, has to cut the
maybe to
corner.
forward. Yeah, forward's going for it here.
Forward looks for the move here. Might get this one done, but Reinmont, he has just got so much straight line speed. He
Yeah,
really
massive
does.
amount.
He's going to be putting the pressure on Scornsey. This little bit of a kerfuffle has kept Scornsey out of the DRS range as well of Lightwork. Reinmods might look to pass him. My prediction, remember, was that Reinmods would win and Lightwork would finish off the podium.
Oh, there was a closing gap there. Forward tried to go for it, but I think he pulled out at a reasonable time.
Scornsey really struggling with his ERS, so forward with a clear ERS advantage as they go down to turn 1. Forward ducking to the inside. He does get ahead of Scornsey. Will he stay ahead though throughout the corner? Scornsey can't fight that one back unless he maybe tries the up and under to try and nail the exit, but he's just going to be a little bit too far back. And that's a great move there by forward down the straight.
Yeah, it's
Reinmont's
covered
right
off
on
as
the
well.
back of Lightwork now.
Oh, Ryan's
And he
clipped
hits
the wall.
again.
Big time. Is there going to be damage for the Alpha Tauri? We'll
Could
see
have
how he
been
understeers
damage.
through this next
Reinmont's
sector.
needs to just calm down here. These are unforced errors really.
Oh,
I know
that's
he's under some
contact.
pressure.
That is, oh,
I
and
definitely
there comes
think that he
Scornsey
may
with a
have some
cheeky
damage
move.
there because,
And it was an illegal overtake. Yeah, he was off track.
Overtake there,
Yeah. So it's all up in the air. We've got P1 on dead
Forward,
softs with a
so
penalty. We've got P2 with potentially a damaged wing. P3 with a penalty looming overhead. Does Scornsey just need to stick with the group? And has he got this under control? Has a big flap of oversteer there from forward.
There is fighting all over the place here as well. AW is attacking M Galloway.
Battle for P2. Forward is down the inside. Contact made. Where is... Yep, Scornsey's going to come flying past as well. That won't be causing a smile on Ryan Rogers' dial.
Don't forget, it's the last corner of the last lap.
You're absolutely right. Championship leader is going to cross the line first, but won't win the
Scornsey's
race. He's
gonna
only got a
take it
2-second
Through
lead.
the final corner, I think.
No,
What can
there's
forward
DRS
do?
opportunity here from forward, and he gets
And
him
forward gets it. Forward gets it, and forward wins the race on the track at least.
by
We'll have to see what happens in this
9,000ths of a second.
stewards room afterwards. But let's go back to Sharia Coleslaw, M Galloway, A-Dub, that little fight. They're on the run down to the line, and
So many close
Scavney
battles.
doesn't have the Scavney doesn't quite have the ERS to try and make a move on Galloway. Sharia actually managing to escape that fight a little bit. I think he just got past Dusty, and then Dusty was the train. We'll see Valentine crossing the line now to finish P13. What on earth is going on? But that's okay. Here comes Nicky, the final driver to complete the race, making his way through Sector 3 at a jogging pace.
So Gabri has gone from supporting forward to wanting to cancel him to now being very proud of his boy, which is fair enough because he has provisionally won the race. Stewards might have something to say about it, but can I just point out that I said at the start of this broadcast, if the gap between first and second is less than 0.125 like it was last season, we're going to have an exciting race. And the gap between first and second was 0.009 this time, 0.13 between first and third. So I think it may have eclipsed last season's battle. Just incredible how close that was at the end. Of course, there was a driver 2 seconds in front this time with a 5-second penalty. But for P1, less than a hundredth of a second.
Shout out Bacon in the chat as well. He watched that one live. That was a fantastic race. There was so much going on. You didn't know where to look. It went so quickly. We had like 11 laps left, and then all of a sudden Cornet was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, guys, race is about to finish." We're like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, honestly, I thought there was still one to go. But you're absolutely right, Cornet, to call that out.
Unbelievable.
And what an insane finish.
Where would you be without me?
Honestly, we're just washed, dude.
Absolutely washed. Alright, we're
Talking
seeing the
about
celebration
washed.
here from forward. Hopefully for him it stands. We're going to get forward Scornsey and Ryan Rods in here to talk to them. Really unfortunate for Lightwork to not be interviewed here. He ended up P4 Not the worst thing for his championship. Will he lose the lead to Scornsey? I think fastest lap both weeks for Scornsey might actually make that the case. Anyhow, it's Ford moving from 11th to the win, albeit provisionally. Scornsey P2, Ryan Rod's on the podium in the AlphaTauri. And we've got Lightwork, Lanzi with a decent finish in the end. Dace fell to P6, then it's Coleslaw, Dusty, Galloway and Scavney in the top 10. Adub, Smith, Valentine, Nicky and Shelley finished the race. Jonathan Dunk, KB, Easy Rider Yowie and Tweezer were the 4 DNFs. Okay, would one of you gentlemen mind please inviting Scornsey, Ryan Rods and Ford?
Man said that as if it needed to be said. Don't think I have Ryan Rods though. Either that or he's set to offline, which is his own fault. So.
Dace in chat saying that the soft tyres barely made it, as predicted. Yeah, it did look like the mediums were the best choice. Of course, those who started on mediums and went to that last safety car period couldn't choose another set of mediums legally by, having to be on 2 different compounds. So they were stuck between choosing softs as they did or hards, which probably would have seen them overtaken. The unfortunate position to be in there.
Yeah, I'm sure Scornsey can have Ryan Rods once he gets in here.
Yubby. I don't think that Forward's gonna keep that, to be honest. I saw the incident live and it looks like he just overshot the corner a little bit, touching Scavney, spinning him around and ruining his race. But we'll see what the stewards say.
Yeah, of course.
If it gets reported.
We can't make that assumption at the moment, so we're going to have to interview the provisional podium. Of course, we'll let you know next week, in next week's broadcast, whether that stood. We're hearing that Lightwork got the pit lane bug. I don't know if I can call that. I'm going to get some direction from the league owner to see what the call on that should be. Always tough to make judgments like this. The right result will come after the stewards have had a look at it, but for the purposes of this. Okay, I'm being told that Lightwork is currently being considered the race winner, as that is a known bug.
Of course, we're gonna need footage, but
although he's saying he's getting off. Okay, we're gonna probably interview the official top 3 that the game suggested, and yeah, we'll let you know next week what changed, if anything.
I'm not gonna stick around for the interviews. I'm gonna dip.
Okay, understandable. I'm gonna check that people have been added. Thank you, Cornet.
And perhaps you could get Scavney or Sharir in here. Just thinking. Get their perspective so that we're not left out in the cold.
Okay, we have Forward in the chat, just awaiting to see if Scornsey and Lightwork join. Scornsy's on his way. Okay. Alright, we may as well start with... Oh, and Ryan's not going to be joining. Okay. Well, we'll start the interviews with Forward. The game lists as the race winner, which came out of nowhere completely, actually. 11th place on the grid, 2P1, although there may be a review of that. Forward, would you like to describe how that happened at the end, where you just all of a sudden were in the lead? It was a battle between you, Scornsy, and Ryan Rods for P2 on track, and then it became P1 with the penalty.
Yeah, so, I mean, really it was just me, Scornsy, and Ryan Rods, and I don't know if Ryan Rods was having some issues or what's going on there, but I bumped into the back of him at one point, and Scornsy passed me and he gave it back, so fair play to him, but I think that really it just these guys are both really good racers. Scornsy and Ryan Rods, I got a lot of respect for them. So, it was a really fun battle there at the end.
All right, and we saw that there may have been contact between you and Scavney on the last restart. Do you want to run us through what happened there?
Yeah, so I don't know if you recall seeing all the clips from Midwest Division 1 in Saudi Arabia last time we were here. Do you remember any of this?
We did bring it up in the broadcast.
Yeah. So it was... I really thought I did learn my lesson the first time, but apparently not. Because it was Scornsy on the right-hand side, Scavney ahead of me, and Scavney breaks slightly earlier than Scornsy, so you can see it in my clip, I jolt to the left to try and get out of the way. And Scavney just locks up straight into the corner, and I hit him. I just barely tapped the back of him, and he got turned around, which, either way, apologies to Scavney, but it's I thought this time around I did my absolute best to, take evasive action and not hit him, so, I don't know, it was just unfortunate how it all came out.
Right, well, fingers crossed for you, history doesn't exactly repeat itself. The exact same corner, a safety car restart, you win the race according to the game. If there's a 5-second penalty, lightning will have struck twice, so we'll keep an eye out for that. Either way, it was a great battle at the end, and well done on taking that position.
Thanks.
You have any questions for Forward, Will?
No.
Okay. In that case, we shall move on to Scornsy, who had a interesting last few laps. Also recorded the fastest lap, which is worth a point. So how did you see those last few laps there, Scornsy?
Man, a roller coaster ride for sure. It was all going good, was feeling good, was feeling in control until unfortunately I made a slight mistake into turn 3. Yeah, turn 3, I clipped the inside barrier and gave myself yellow wing damage. So that was fun dealing with that the last few laps. But yeah, to point out what Forward said when he had that little incident or whatever with Ryan. When I gave him back the position, I was going to give it back to him anyways, but I mean, the game forced me to do it regardless if I was going to do it or not.
Oh, okay. I wasn't...
Yeah.
Wait, it really told you to give it back?
Yeah, and it's crazy because I even lifted off when I had to slightly go off track to avoid you guys and everything, and yeah, it still made me... I mean, I wasn't going to keep it anyways. I was going to give it back to you before that next corner because it just... that felt like the right thing to do. But still,
that's so weird. It would make you give it back. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think
any time with yellow flags or something.
All 4 wheels are off the track. I think if you make a pass when that's the case, then no matter how fast you're going, even if the car's spun, sometimes it does it, which shouldn't do.
But no, it felt good. Really unfortunate that both Ryan and I, at one point, were on, really good for the win, and then just we both made mistakes, and yeah, here we are.
So are you
But I mean,
referring to that at the end, or are you referring to when you were both had pitted onto the hard tyre forward as well, going to the
no,
end and then that
I
last
think
safety car maybe?
us pinning onto the hards was perfectly fine. I think because we were gaining, we were slowly starting to reel in those guys ahead, and we were having good pace. And then I don't know, it would have been interesting to have seen how that kind of would have paid off or played out or whatever. But um, that late safety car had me worried a little bit, but I knew that the softs burn up so quick around here. Their pace just drops off massively after a little bit here. So going on to the
Absolutely.
mediums there at the end, it's all good. Pace wise, it felt really good.
I imagine Lightwork and Dace realised the medium was the best tyre, but they didn't have that option because they'd started on it, and that was the only tyre they'd used up until that point, so they had a choice of soft or hard, and they were stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunate for them, but what do you guys both think about the potential of a 5-second penalty being removed for those people who had the pit bug, or do you think that, you guys managed to do it pit without having a problem, so it should stand?
I mean, I haven't experienced that myself, so I'd have to look at their reports and see what actually happened.
I know around here that if you in the pit entry, if you go too far to the right as you're entering, that's when it decides to give you the pan and all that, and it like slows you down all weird. I personally haven't gotten that here, but I mean, I know I've been affected by that. Like say, Netherlands, I had that. I don't remember if it was this league or if it was in a different league, but yeah, the pit entry into that, which that one was even weirder because I never got anything there before. So I can understand the frustration of missing out on a win or podium or whatever just because of a BS penalty like that. But I don't know. I think if it was a genuine like mistake or whatever, then sure. If it's something where like prior to the race, all the drivers are notified and told, hey, this pit entry is bugged, blah blah blah. If you take it this way, that's on you, type of thing. Like you need to make sure to take it correctly. Like France, for example, I remember, I believe it was Midwest, where people made that the pit entry there issue very aware, and so a lot of people started taking it, the way that you were supposed to avoid getting a penalty.
Yeah, Dusty just posted his POV, and it looks like he got a speeding in the pit lane, and that was like much earlier than where the little placard is there.
Yeah, it does it like halfway as you're like turning in, like when you like quickly turn right into the pit lane. That's when it like if you take it wrong, it'll like glitch up your car. It'll like freeze it up just almost instantly, and then it like almost resets you kinda. I've had it like that, and then it just gives you the 5-second pan.
Yeah. Okay, so there's going to be a lot to review by the stewards, it seems, for this particular event. But yeah, as it stood across the line between you two, only 9 thousandths of a second. So it was an exciting finish, at least from our perspective, even if it's a bit confusing as to what the exact result is going to be. But yeah, very entertaining. Will, do you have any questions to add to either of these guys?
Just to Scornsy, were you always confident that those softs on Dace specifically would fall off, or were you worried that maybe Dace might actually be able to fight for the win on that last restart?
I knew that they were gonna bolt off for sure. Those first couple laps were gonna be crucial for them, but I knew that they were gonna fall off massively only because a couple months back I did a league race around here, and I changed to the softs at the very end myself, and so I kind of experienced what Dace and Lightwork had to go through today. So yeah, learned some lessons from that, and so tried to apply that knowledge to today.
Right.
But yeah, was feeling pretty good. But yeah, I mean, pace-wise, as you can see, I mean, the mediums were far superior by the very end. I mean, had Brian and I not messed up or whatever with light work, you know, we had him right there. He was, you know, right there. So, yeah, it was good stuff. And honestly, feeling pretty good around here now, because I remember not too long ago I did a race around here, and man, my pace around here was atrocious. I dreaded my pace here, and so finally managed to put together something that felt pretty stable, pretty consistent around here. Feels good.
Absolutely. Well, I think no matter what, and unless, of course, the 5-second penalty from light work is overturned, you should be in the championship lead. So congratulations on that. And we're probably going to see you next week as well in the interviews.
Yeah, hopefully, we'll see. But yeah, thanks, guys. Hope it was a good one. I'm not sure what everything happened, but hopefully it was a fun one to comment.
It's absolutely incredible. Yeah.
Well worth a watch back, I'd say.
Sounds good. But yeah, thanks, guys.
Well, thank you for joining us. And thank you, everyone, for watching. I think it's about time we wrap this up. Next week, I'm not sure what the track is going to be. I'll have a quick look at the schedule. It would be my home race if I was racing. It's going to be Australia, so Albert Park. And 1 week's time until that. Thank you for joining us. This has been the Coleslaw Cup. Will Cornet, who was with us before, and Elmer Jacko on the comms. See you guys next time.